This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.
Here's an interesting story for you. This time yesterday, we spoke about the shortage of blood and the blood board appealing to us to donate blood. You will have heard us if you were listening to the show yesterday. We had somebody on from the Blood Transfusion Service Board appealing for you, if you can, to go and donate blood. And that's what one of our listeners by the name of Robbie did. He heard the appeal for blood and he said, right, I'll go down and give blood. Here's what Robbie angrily wrote on Facebook yesterday. I went to give blood this evening because of the major shortage, only to be told I can't give blood because I'm gay. Are they for real? Fine, you won't get my blood, but you can F off if you think I'll be keeping my donor card. You can think again. If my blood isn't good enough, neither are my organs. I am absolutely fuming. And that was from a guy called Robbie, and Robbie joins me on the line. Robbie, tell me what happened.
Well, I went up. I wasn't going to go up. I was only home from work. I was tired. But of course, with all the things going around social media and the news of the shortage of blood, I said, look, I'll go and do it. I said, it's only an hour or 2 out of my day. I'll just go and do it. It could help somebody. Mm-hmm. So went up and we went in. We sat down. Fella come over and notified us that it'd be a 2 to 2.5 hour wait before we got in. That wasn't a problem to me. So then was looking at a sign of different things that you can do, why you can't donate blood, if piercing in the last so many weeks and tattoos and stuff like that. And then I actually did notice it down the bottom of the list, and it just said MSM, and it was a friend of mine that was with me said, did you see that? And I said, see what it said toward from the bottom. So I looked at it, and it just said, if you've had sex with a man, you can't donate blood. So I inquired about it, and I was like, this can't be right. So inquired about it, and I was told then that if you've had sex with a man within the last 12 months, you can't donate blood.
Yes. Now, last year, the lifetime ban on gay men donating blood was lifted, but the restriction is that a man who's had sex with another man more than 12 months ago will be able to, but if you've had sex with a man in the last year, you can't. Now, What's your problem with that?
Well, my problem is why 12 months? Why is it 12 months? I mean, to me, any gay man out there that hasn't had sex in 12 months would be kind of shocking. But even without that, what gets me is you, for instance, Adrian, can go out and you can literally have sex for the next month with 50 or 60 different women. And there is absolutely no issue with you going in and donating blood. Now, you can pick up any amount of diseases while you're doing that. Now, I assume that all blood, no matter who they get it off, is tested when you donate blood. I assume it's tested.
Yes, I would assume that myself.
So, I mean, why can't they take my blood and test it while it's there? They're not going to find anything in my blood specifically. My blood is clean. I've been tested many a times. I know I'm clean. But what I'm saying is they're saying to me, well, we're not taking your blood because more than likely, the way it comes across is, well, more than likely you are contaminated. Okay,
but as a gay man, up until last year, you just couldn't donate blood, full stop. There was a lifetime ban on gay men donating blood. That was lifted and restricted to if you've had sex more than a year ago, you can donate blood. But if you've had sex as a gay man within the last year, you can't. So surely it's better than what was there before.
Well, you could say it is better than what was there before, but does it make sense? No, to me, no, it doesn't. And
okay, but I'll give you another example, Robbie. That a friend of mine was on a cruise and visited the country of Haiti in the Caribbean, and because he admitted that he was in Haiti and he was only there for 2 days, he was immediately told, no, you can't donate blood for I think it's 10 years. So the point I'm trying to make is, Rules are rules, are they not?
Rules are rules, but as we said a couple of minutes ago, when they take your blood, is always tested before it's used. So, I mean, your friend was in Haiti for 2 days. That doesn't mean he picked up anything.
No, I'm aware of that. But he was told he cannot give blood.
Why not take the man's blood, test the blood? If the blood is contaminated, notify him. Notify the person then. You have to give all your information. Notify that person. That person then knows not to go and give blood again until such thing is corrected. Like, I mean, if you're lying in a hospital bed tomorrow and you need a blood transfusion and they haven't got your blood type, but I'm your blood type, are you going to turn away my blood because I might have had sex with another man 2 weeks ago?
Okay, so you think that this is discriminatory against gay men, a man like you who yesterday wanted to donate blood and realised you can't?
Yeah. Like, and as I said even on the Facebook post, like, my blood, apparently my blood is no good. They won't take my blood. But as I said even about the organ donor card, well, if my blood is not good enough, why should I heart, my lungs, my liver, my kidneys, why should I give them? If my blood is not good enough, why is my heart good enough for somebody? Blood flows through my heart.
So would you like to see this restriction, and it's not a ban, it's a restriction against gay men who have had sex with other men within the last year? You would like to see that restriction taken away?
Yeah, and not just against gay men. Not like, I mean, my post was about gay men, but as you said regarding your friend that was in Haiti, test the blood. Take the blood, test it. If the blood is contaminated, notify the person. They won't go and give blood again. But if the blood is clean, well, use it. You can save someone's life with it. Like, don't discriminate against whether it be gay, straight, black, white, China, anything. Don't discriminate people because of one little thing. I just think, like, in this day and age, surely to God we have the technology that we can take blood from a gay man, a man that's been in China, Haiti, Afghanistan, Iraq, wherever in the world. Surely to God we can take their blood, test their blood, and see that it's not contaminated. And as I said, if it is contaminated, well, then notify the person. Like, I mean, one of the questions on the forums last night that the girl that was with me got, one of the questions was, has your boyfriend or husband been in or had sexual contact with another man? Now, everyone knows that there is men out there that are doing it. Everyone knows that. But they hardly admit it. They hardly admit it to their girlfriends. Exactly. So, I mean, do you know what I mean? So there is men out there that sleep with men and women. They don't tell the women. So if they go with their wife to donate blood, are they going to say to their wife, yeah, well, listen, I had sex with a man 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago, you can't give blood? No, they're not. So all these forms even that are being filled out, the forms are useless because half of the information that's given on it is lies anyway. And what do? They test the blood. So why can't they do that with men, with gay men? Or with, as you said, with men or women that have been in foreign countries?
Okay, so as far as you're concerned, your blood is clean, you've been tested for STIs, you know what you're donating is good, and you can see no reason other than pure discrimination against gay men why this restriction is in place. Yeah. Discrimination, as I said, against gay men, against people, as you said, with people that's travelling. I think it's just pure discrimination. I think in 2018, I think we should be able to take blood, test it, and then, as I said, notify the person. Maybe these people don't know. Maybe people think that people think that they genuinely are clean, and maybe they go donate blood. They find out. Well, the people find out. They find out that it's contaminated. Do they notify the people? All right, we'll watch this space. We have been on to the Blood Board to try and get a statement, and hopefully we'll have that very shortly. Robbie, thanks very much indeed for talking to us, and we'll try and get answers for you.
Thanks a million for that.
Okay, there you go. That's Robbie. Our telephone number, by the way, is 6797981. Text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. Lots of messages coming in about Robbie's call. It's to reduce cost. Testing and notification of all blood donated would cost a lot. Another one, is it the same for gay women? No, it's men having sex with men is what is restricted. Patrick, what did you want to say on this?
Yeah, listen, I went to give blood. I lived in England from about 1988 to 1998. And when I went to fill out the form to give a blood donation, they said, were you over there during the time of... Well, you remember they were talking about the mad cow
Yes, indeed, yeah.
disease, right? And I said, yes, I was. They said, well, then, sorry, you can't donate blood. Well, I mean, obviously, I don't have it because I wouldn't be here now if I had.
Yes, indeed. So, so what, you think they're being too restrictive, do you?
Oh, absolutely. And what that gentleman said that was on there before, irrespective of whether the guy is straight or gay. If the man wants to give blood, he should be able to give blood. As he said, it should be tested. You know, like they're getting on here saying they short of blood here, there, and everywhere, and then like they're turning people away. You know, what do they want?
As I said, we're still waiting for the Blood Transfusion Board to explain to us in detail why that ban is in place and why, like, for example, you, Patrick, can't because you were in the UK during the outbreak of, what was it?
Was it MSA or something, or it was something sponjo, something that affected the brain?
Mad cow disease, basically.
Yeah, basically. It was like the...
Well, do me a favour, Patrick, stay there for 1 second because I am joined on the line now by Dr. Ellen McSweeney, who is a donor consultant with the Irish Blood Transfusion Service. Dr. McSweeney, welcome to 98FM.
Thank you.
I know you didn't hear Robbie's interview a couple of moments ago, but Robbie, following yesterday's appeal on this programme for people to donate blood, he decided, right, I'll go and donate blood. He's a gay man and he was told that this 1 year ban is in place for men who have had sex with men. His argument is he's perfectly clean, he's been regularly tested for sexually transmitted illnesses, and he's completely clean. Why can't you take his blood?
Okay. Well, the first thing to say is what we do is provide a blood supply for patients in Ireland who need a safe blood supply, and all of our guidelines are about safety, either safety for the donor to donate or safety for the patient who's going to receive the blood. And as regards gay men who are active, then there's no question but that there is a higher risk of infections such as HIV that can be transmitted by blood. And they and other groups who are at higher risk are not allowed to donate until a certain period after their most recent sexual episode has passed. And in this case, it's 12 months for a gay man, as Jamie found yesterday. And the question really is about the window period. The window period is a period of time that we could take a donation from somebody. The person could actually have contracted HIV or another infection, but yet their blood would test negative. So that blood could then go to a patient and infect that patient. And that's really what we're worried about. Now, and somebody who's in a higher risk group.
Okay, so the reason that it is a 12... So what it is if a man has had sex with a man in the last 12 months, he can't give blood because he is seen to be at a higher risk, but more importantly, because his blood could test clear, but actually have for example, the HIV virus in his blood. Yes,
because people who are at a higher risk could actually, if they come, be in the window period at that particular point in time. So therefore, they have to be deferred for a period. And as you know, up until January of last year, men who sex with men were permanently excluded from donating. Now that has been reduced to 12 months.
Yes, which is it is a change. Okay, so what you're saying is that men who have sex with men are in a higher risk category, but more significantly, if I were to donate blood as a gay man today, some illnesses may not even show up in my blood for 3 or 6 months.
Well, they may not show up in your blood for a period of time. And yes, our tests are actually very, very good. But even so, our duty of care is really to the person who's going to receive the blood. So currently, it's a 12-month deferral, as it is for other risk groups, such as somebody who has sex with a sex worker, or somebody who has sex with somebody who's used intravenous drugs. The period of time is consistent across all those different risks. And
okay, so this isn't discrimination against the gay community or anything of the sort. It is a restriction that's in place. I've just been speaking to another man just a moment ago who tells me that he was living in the UK during the outbreak of mad cow disease, and he's not allowed. He's not allowed to donate. Why is that?
Well, because that's because of a risk of variant CJD. I sympathise with that gentleman. I'm in the same position myself. But again, you could argue there's a risk. How severe is that risk? At the time, we actually did, some years ago, we did an assessment. And again, the thinking was that people who lived in the United Kingdom during that period, 1980 to 1996, were at a higher risk of acquiring this prion disease called variant CJD than, say, somebody who had lived in Ireland.
Okay, but sorry, Dr. McSweeney, that was a long time ago. If you were carrying or were going to develop mad cow disease, you'd probably see the symptoms by now, would you not?
No, that's the issue, because it's a prion disease. Somebody could actually carry it. They could say have it, but not show any symptoms for a long period of time. And it depends on your genetic makeup. It could be 20, 30, 40 years perhaps, depending on your genes. So that's the worry.
Okay, so that's the reason for that. All
now,
right.
Saying that, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, insofar as we are currently actually looking at that and doing another risk assessment, bearing in mind that there weren't as many infections from blood transfusion as was originally anticipated. So we are actively looking at that at present. And it may, again, obviously, if we change the guideline on that, it will be something that we will let the public know, because an awful lot of people are currently deferred for that reason. But we are looking at it.
All right. Finally, one of the questions, and this is something our guest Robbie a couple of minutes ago, and I know you didn't hear his interview. One of the things he said is one of the questions that gets asked of women is: has your boyfriend or husband or whatever or partner had sex with men in the last year?
Yes.
No woman would know the answer to that.
What? Sorry, the question, we ask questions about to identify if somebody are at a higher risk of acquiring infections like HIV. The question we actually ask about women specifically is: have you had sex in the last 12 months with a man who has ever had sex with another man? And the reason for that is, and we say ever, the reason for that is that if a woman is in a relationship with a bisexual man, then we're not testing the man. Obviously, what we would do is we test the person who donates. So we have to try and estimate how much of a risk they are at. Now, the man, if for argument's sake the man did have HIV but was never tested, then the woman would be at a risk.
Okay, so I mean, Robbie's argument was if a woman is going out with a bloke who's secretly having sex with other men, she's going to be the last person to know it.
Well, yes, but I mean, the same argument holds for a man who tells us he is having sex with another man. You know, if he says he hasn't had sex in 3 months, if he says, for example, that the other person hasn't had sex, they're just in a relationship that's, just the two of them, there's nobody else, then the same argument holds. How does he really know? How do any of us really know what our partner is doing?
Okay, the final thing is all blood is tested, I assume, before it is given to anybody by way of transfusion.
Oh, absolutely, of course.
Okay, so the reason that these restrictions are in place is what? If all blood is screened out. Okay, I understand that you've explained the the extra risk and so on. But say, for example, that man Patrick we were talking to lived in the UK. You're saying that could be present for up to 40 years. So there's no.
It could.
Okay, so all of the restrictions that are in place for a sound scientific reason.
Yes, all of the restrictions that are in place because we deem there's a risk to the patient who's going to receive the blood. And there is, at the present point in time, there is no test that we could use for testing for a prion disease to test that gentleman or myself could actually currently have variant CJD and not have any, the prion disease, but not have any symptoms. So we can't test for it. So that's why at the moment, so that's a permanent exclusion.
The rules that are in place are, that's a permanent exclusion. Does that mean, by the way, the people in the UK can't donate blood?
They can't donate if they've lived in the UK between 1980.
No, I'm talking about in Britain. Can people donate blood?
No, of course they can donate blood in Britain. What we do, it's all about risks and balances. Now, obviously, the population of the UK has to have a blood supply, so they could not afford to have that guideline the same as we do. So, but because we can afford to have it at the moment, now we know we defer a lot of people.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, if you're excluded from donating blood, our caller Patrick a while ago was excluded from donating blood, yet they do it every day of the week in Britain.
They do, because
is it not being a little bit overcautious?
Well, it's okay. The risks. I mean, we unfortunately have had tribunals in this country about blood and infections, as you know. So we have to be extremely cautious. And we know that the public in Ireland wants a safe blood supply, a very safe blood supply, as safe as it possibly can be. And in fact, that's what we have to do anyway, is to provide as safe as it can be. So we put in, each particular guideline is scientifically based, NETs reviewed, and there have been cases of variant CJD transmitted by transfusion. Obviously, the prion was transmitted, and then the person later went on to develop variant CJD. So,
can I just, sorry to cut across you, Dr. McSweeney, because I'm running way out of time. Is the questionnaire, which is fairly detailed and so on, does that questionnaire, in fact, I have a call I'm about to go to when I'm finished talking to you, who's saying that this will merely encourage gay men to lie and pretend that they're straight when they're giving blood?
Absolutely not. I mean, we depend totally and absolutely on people being honest and truthful in their answers. And it is extremely important that people are. And people just must tell us the truth, because otherwise they're putting patients in Ireland at risk.
All right. Dr. Ellen McSweeney, donor consultant with the Irish Blood Transfusion Service, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Thank you. And in fact, Ray, that is the point that you were making, that this will just encourage gay men to tell lies.
Yeah, probably will, yeah. We were just talking about it here, but as far as she made a valid point, if anyone had any decency about them, they probably wouldn't lie about it. Yeah.
And I'd like to think they wouldn't. And I think that's important to get out there, that you're serving, you're doing no favours for anybody by telling lies, that the restrictions are in place for sound scientific reasons.
Yeah, unless you knew yourself 100% that you were a 1 year clearance that you weren't doing whatever you were supposed to be doing, you know what I mean? And you knew yourself 100%.
Do you give blood yourself, Ray?
The odd time, yeah, I do, yeah.
Good man, fair play.
The odd time, yeah. Cheers, lads.
Thanks, Ray. Shauna, you're on 98FM. Hi, Shauna.
Hiya, how are you?
Good, thank you, Shauna. You don't think that this rule, this restriction against gay men donating blood, well, it's sexually active gay men donating blood is fair. Why not?
Well, to be honest, these days people don't really know kind of who, if you're out on a night out, you don't really know who you're sleeping with. You don't know who if, like, for example, if I went out, I could sleep with a man who ended up sleeping with a man, and like, I mean, you think that you're fine, then you go and donate, and I'm allowed. But I mean, my blood is tested, so why can't theirs be tested? Basically.
And in fact, one of the points that Robbie made earlier on is I, as a straight male, could go around having sex with 30 or 40 women in the next year and donate blood.
And that's it. Like, I mean, if they're worried about HIV or AIDS or whatever it is, I could have it. I could have gotten it from someone that I've slept with not so long ago, but yet they're still taking my blood. But it's like, I mean, I know for AIDS and stuff, it does take a long time for it to show up in blood, but yeah, I don't know about it. So why is the restriction for them but not for everybody then?
Because as we were told, they are in a higher risk category.
But then, like, I mean, I understand that.
I do understand that you could be in even higher risk again.
Because I could be sleeping with anybody.
Yes, and likewise. And that was the point that Robbie made earlier on. I could be sleeping my way around Dublin for the next year and walk in the next day and donate blood.
Exactly.
And God knows what I'd be carrying. No, it's a fair point, Shauna. And one last call. Irene. Oh. Hi, Irene. How are you? What did you want to say?
Well, in 1979, I had my first child, which is a girl, okay? Then I had a boy in 84, and then I had another girl in 92. Now, on both occasions of the girl, after 2 days, I was given an injection called anti-D injection.
Yes, indeed,
right?
yes, which has caused huge controversy here in Ireland.
Yes, well, I actually was infected by that blood. I have rare blood, and I could never give it again. I used to give it every year, right? But I was actually contaminated by the anti-D injection at the time, you know what I mean? So that's why I think there should be very restrictive as to, you know, what can happen, because that can affect my liver, that can do an awful lot to me. Do you know what I mean? And it's only after your girls, because it was to prevent me from having blue babies, if you remember that terminology years ago. And that was infected, and that's why they're very strict with the gay community. It was because that was from that community, you know what I mean? At the time. And that's why they were banned. You know what I mean? Now, I do agree that ladies' pipe, what's going on today, seems to be really easy. We all spray most of them. But you know what I mean? It is very stressful when you know you've been infected with this thing, and it does take effect on you.
Okay, so your point is you can completely understand the restrictions.
Absolutely.
Okay, and as you said, the Blood Transfusion Service Board say that the restrictions are in place in the interests of those to whom the blood is being donated. Finally, Stuart, tell me about your best friend back in the late 90s.
Yeah, but back then he was a haemophiliac, and he was at a special school, obviously, because if he got a bleed, it needed to be kind of dealt with straight away.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he did have a bad bleed, and he was given a transfusion. And unfortunately, he contracted AIDS, and that was it. Within a year, he was dead. Simple as that. He died when he was 17, 18. So, yeah, caution should be sort of aired, you know.
Okay, so with that in mind, now I know it's a lot more, there's a lot more regulation around blood now, but you say you totally agree with these precautionary measures in order to prevent something like that happening. No, like I said, the blood is tested much more thoroughly now than it ever was in the past, but from first-hand experience, your friend died of an AIDS-related illness as a result of a blood transfusion.
Exactly, yeah. And come here, who honestly would want to run the risk of contracting a disease like that?
No, of course not.
Through no fault of their own, you know, whether they be in a bad injury somewhere or, you know, life-threatening situation themselves. You know, you got to be real about this. And who would really want to contract something that will run the risk? And if you did, or if somebody did, they'd be the first to jump up and say, well, it should have been tested more thorough, or that person shouldn't have been able to donate.
All right, Stuart, thanks very much indeed. A couple of messages. I have lived outside of Ireland in an African country for 2 years while I was young. I've been living here ever since, and I still can't donate blood because of a risk. I would love to donate, but I can't, unfortunately, due to the strict guidelines. And just, and one more message here. Aisling says, I can't donate blood because I have a kidney stone. And one last one. That lady from the blood board made perfect sense. Remember the hepatitis contaminated blood scandal in the 90s? They need protocols to prevent that from happening. We've all heard stories like a Garda getting spiked with a syringe and not knowing for 12 months, says Jason. And there was one more message. Oh, yeah. As a member of the Defence Forces, we are restricted from giving blood for a year after coming back from overseas because of the risk of AIDS in foreign countries. No different to the restriction on gay men. It's all got to do with patient protection, says Glenn in County Kildare. Thanks very much indeed for all of your calls, comments, texts and opinions. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
The voice of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks.
With Adrian Kennedy.
We're live every morning from 10 on 98FM.